Hi, everybody, it's Weird Wink Wilkinson laughing and scratching at you. How's everybody doing today? I got a little bit of a stiff neck. Let me just fix this up. Oh, that feels a lot better. Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff. I feel so very weird.
There are some things in this world that go way beyond human understanding. Things that cannot be explained, things that most people don't want to know about. That is where we come in.
No human being would stack books like this.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, it looks like you're the one who needs to be taught a lesson, pal. Class is paying 101. The instructor's Casey Jones.
Look, I don't want to fight you.
Well, tough rocks, pal.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I?
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
We have the tools, we have the talent.
It's Miller time.
Luminous being so we, not this fruit batcher.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Hey, these aren't my rules. Come to think of it, I don't have any rules.
Well, that's great. Either I have a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
You know something? Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Rise to the top, oh yeah.
That's the nicest thing a dog can say about anybody.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough, I get the point.
You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
I've got one that can see.
Sometimes happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you going to call?
It's showtime.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Radio, episode 286. It's an open mic Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing if we get anybody joining us tonight. There's no one waiting in the green room right now, but maybe that'll change. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti, and I need to tell you guys about the newsprint campaign before we get started. The newsprint campaign, you can go to newsprintcomics.com. Basically, I guess you could say, I'm opening up an indie comic print shop. I mean, that's kind of what this is. So let me just pull up the campaign and share an update with you guys for those who care for such a thing. And if you don't, give me a minute. Maybe you'll care. So we got newsprintcomics.com. This is on Fund My Comic right now. We got 77 backers on board. It's at $9,065. So $9,000 plus $65. So $9,065. We're at 60%. We just reached 60% mark today. Thank you guys very much for your support, for shouting out this campaign. Can't do this without you guys. I can't stress that enough. I cannot do this without you guys. So if you guys are out there supporting, talking about the campaign, getting other people interested in it, even just letting them know by sharing this campaign around, thank you. For those that are contributing, backing it, making it possible, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot stress that enough. Seriously. So we got 25 days to go on this. We're doing pretty good all things considered, 60% there with 25 days to go. It's a $15,000 goal. And that covers everything that I would need for a year of printing comics in-house on newsprint. And the reason this campaign, I think, is pretty important is because of the fact that there's a lot of people out there right now that maybe they got to print 50 or 100 or 200 books, because we print all the way up to 200 of a specific book, between 8 to 48 pages. It's going to enable a lot of creators to actually save money and get something done right and having it look great. That's a really big thing for a lot of independent creators out there. And this is specifically who that's for. So sure, it helps me, it helps Alterna to get our books printed in-house and achieved this way. But it really will help a lot of people outside of just us. And there's a bunch of perks on the campaign that are both good for people who have print runs and people who don't really have that kind of thing, but would still like to support the campaign and would like to see this kind of project come to life. If you want to check it out, if you're a creator, there's all kinds of details here about the ins and outs of all the things you'd be doing with your book, all the way that the formatting, the paper stock, the sizing, all that stuff is there. And you can even see a price list for the mini comic, which is 5 by 7.5, and the standard size comic, which is 6.625 by 10.25, or basically 6 5/8 by 10 1/4. You can see the pricing for 8 to 48 pages, full color or black and white. The covers are included in the cost, but not in the page count. So it would be like 40 pages plus a cover, 32 pages plus your cover. The cover is not included in that page count. And you can just see a bunch of different pictures and whatnot on here. Read about how I came to this conclusion to do this decision, which was not it was not something I took lightly. I did a lot of research into this, and it's happened over the course of many years. So taking the dive into this, I'm finding that so far so good. I've been doing a lot of test prints with the printers that I do have right now. I've got one standard size comic printer that'll do both the full size comic and the mini comic. I purchased a second one of those. I was going to purchase a dedicated comic printer for the minis, but I got such a good deal on a standard size one that'll do both mini and full size. I figured might as well just do that. So we're going to have two printers that could do the full-fledged standard size comic, and also two that could do the mini comics as well. So that's just two printers, not four, but just two. But instead of that mini goal, which was the second one, to purchase the mini comic printer, I got another standard size comic printer. And you can see test prints in the updates. I put stuff like that up here as well, so you can see how some of the stuff is coming out. These are just sample pages from King Cryptid series. Something that's important to note that I need to let you guys know about, because I had to update the campaign. So I unlocked the 5,000 and 7,500 mini goals, but I did put an update there on that second mini goal. It said that it's a new mini goal, a second standard size comic printer, which will also print mini comics and additional ink and paper. The previous mini goal was a dedicated mini comic printer and additional ink and paper for that printer. So it explains what I just told to you. And that's on the campaign now. And some of the stuff has changed. So the $10,000 and $12,500 and $15,000 goals, those are the same. The overall goal on the campaign is $15,000, but the stretch goals have changed because the first stretch goal I had was for a standard size comic printer to get a second one. Don't need to do that now. So now it's been reduced. A couple of these things have been reduced. So 18,000 would be the first stretch goal for a dedicated mini comic printer. So then we technically would have three, and that would only print the mini comic size. At 20,000, additional storage space needed to house supplies and paper. So I would up the size of the storage unit that I already have, and those funds would go towards that to house all that additional, the boxes, the paper, everything that's needed there. And that stuff really takes up a lot of room pretty quickly. 23,000, 2 years worth of paper, ink, staples, shipping boxes, and replacement parts. And 27,000, enough funds to purchase any additional and upgraded machinery and equipment if and when the situation arises. If we reach 27K, I'll announce a stretch goal for 35, 50, and 100K. So thank you guys so much again for your support. And please keep spreading the word on the campaign. If you haven't had a chance to back it yet, please consider doing so. In addition to that, of course, I have the King Cryptid campaign for number 10 to 13. And that is very, very close to reaching the $17,000 milestone. So thank you guys again for your support there. All right. So let's see. Do we have anyone waiting in the wings? I really don't know. I don't see anybody in the green room yet. And since it is an open mic show, if we don't have anybody there, we got to end it. So let's see how it goes. I'll put the timer on. Put the timer on for, I don't know, 10 minutes. We'll do 10 more minutes. If no one shows up in the next 10 minutes, then we say goodbye early. It is what it is. Let's see. We got Bretsky here. What's up, Bretsky? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got Glacier Mountain Comics here. It says, newsprint, this is amazing. You're the man. My current book is 60 pages, but I will for sure be back with the next book that has much less pages. Excited that newsprint is now an option. Thank you, Glacier. Is there a way that you could split your book into like 2 issues? Is that possible? The only reason that I say that, I don't know yet if I can print a higher page count. I'm very comfortable with the 48 page count because I can get it to, close and lay flat, that kind of a thing. But maybe I could do 52. Maybe I could do 56 or 60 or 64. It's got to be in divisions of 4 if you catch the math there. And that's because each page has 2 signatures. So on the front and back. So it's 2 images and then on the back 2 images. So if you could split it into 2 32 pagers or something like that, you could always jump on board and do this. But it's up to you. I don't want to twist your arm about it. AL says, sorry, can't stay. Daughter graduated high school and we're celebrating. Have a good stream. Hit the like button. Well, congrats to your daughter. And that's a good reason to not stay. So thank you, AL. Appreciate it. Shanth is a new member. What's up, Shanth? Thank you for becoming a new member. And Cole King is a member as well for the past 10 months. Appreciate it, Cole. Let's see. He says, hey, brother, great to see you. Great to see you too, Cole. Hope you're doing well. We got World at War Comics here. What's up, World at War Comics? That's Tommy right there. We got Ben in the chat too. How's it going, Ben? Hope you're doing well. So we got, from what StreamYard tells me, 21 people watching right now, but there's no one in the green room. I don't know if that's going to change. But again, it is an open mic show. It is the only actual show I do that's 100% focused on promoting your comic. So if you do want to promote your comic, I get a lot of people that send me messages about wanting to promote and be on, a standard comic book radio stream and, talk to me for an hour and promote the book and that kind of stuff. And I get where they're coming from. But it's really difficult for me to do shows like that. It's tough to kind of have like this infomercial power hour for me. I'll be blunt, I'm not particularly interested in doing those kinds of shows myself. I like to have some kind of conversation in there. Sometimes I go on other people's channels and that's all we talk about is just the campaign or whatever it may be. And that's okay. But if you do want to come on this show and you've got a campaign to promote, by all means, you can promote your campaign or your book or whatever it is you're doing, of course. But that should not be the main focus. So let me know what you want to talk to me about for an hour. Like, what are you interested in? What are you knowledgeable about? Do you want to discuss something specific in the realm of comics or storytelling? Because if you have to sit down and talk to someone, think about it like this. If you're going to sit down and talk to me for an hour or more, if it's just about the campaign, that's tough. That's tough. And I don't mind if we talk about a lot of things that have nothing to do with comics. If anything, it's really good for the audience to get to know you in that way too. But when it's kind of like, let's just run through the campaign and point out the perks and, that kind of stuff. If that's what you're really interested in doing, you can come on the open mic show and just do that. Just promote your campaign. 5 minutes. Sometimes you get a little bit more. That's more than enough time to get the gist of your campaign, get it out there, and you can come back week after week. I don't mind. There's no limit to that. Some people also ask me, they go, Pete, can I come on the open mic show? You don't have to ask. It's an open mic. So you've got the link. You see that I post it, and it's usually on Wednesdays around 9:00 Eastern when we start. And then the link to join is in the chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So you just click on that and just join. You don't need to get my permission or get a spot in line or anything like that. So this show is dedicated to helping people promote the books that they have. But if you want to have like a longer form interview thing, just be prepared to let me know what you'd like to discuss. And it isn't just going to be your campaign or your book. And also, if you do have your book, let me know what it's about. Give me the link to what you have. Sometimes people don't do that. Sometimes I'll just get a message that's people going, I got a book out. Can I get on your show? And I've never talked to them before, and I don't know what their book's about. And that's a weird situation. So let me know what it is that your book's about, who you are, some of the stuff you're comfortable with talking about and knowledgeable about talking about, interested in talking about. And then also what's really helpful for me too, let me know if we've never spoken before, even like an open mic, let me see you on another interview. So if you've got like your last interview, your most recent interview, or one that you're particularly proud of that you really liked, send that to me as well when you pitch to me to be on the show. All that stuff helps me gauge everything I have to consider. So I'm not trying to be rude about it. I'm not trying to be exclusive about it. I'm just trying to say that this is a realistic scenario of sitting down and talking to somebody for an hour, hour and a half, and you need to let them know who you are. So that's all. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's see. We got Cigar Gangster here. What's up, Cigar Gangster? Good to see you. Michael Bancroft is here too. Says, I'd call in, but I'm sick. Oh, I hope you feel better, Michael. Let's see. Mark says, yeah, feel better, Michael. Yeah, hope you feel better, man. The Beam Pad. What's up, Beam Pad? Cole King says, hey, Pete, are you willing to do pre-press for books you print? Probably not. And the only reason I say no is because that is like a whole other level of time commitment. Even if someone were to pay me to do that, the time that I don't have, you could pay me like $1,000 to do it, which I wouldn't charge $1,000, but you could pay me a lot of money to do it. I just would not have the time to do it. So you'd have to, I'll let people know that there'll be stuff like a template and how to format the pages and all that kind of stuff, like total ink coverage and things along those lines. But I'm not going to do pre-press for somebody. I'll do pre-press for the books that I publish, but that's it. Again, like I said, it's a time commitment problem there. Flip City, what's up? Flip City says, woo, open mic. Dilip Funbar says, love your stuff, Flip City. Heard about you from James Pilato and Corbett. There you go. All right. So it looks like we've got somebody here. And just in the nick of time, we had about 2 minutes before I would have called it quits. All right. So let me wind this up and give 5 minutes to the individual that's in the green room right now. All right, here we go. We've got James. What's up, James?
What's going on, Pete? How you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So you want me to just jump right in?
Yeah, jump right in.
Jump right in. Let me share my screen here and tell you all about. Can I share it? I'm trying to share.
There it is. I see it.
All right. Alpha Red number 7 is crowdfunding over at Fund My Comic. You just go to alpharedcomic.com and get the latest issue of Alpha Red. If you're not familiar with Alpha Red, he's your friendly neighborhood handyman who gets chosen for an experiment. They put a chip in his brain that makes him super strong, super fast, super smart, and he has to save the world. In the initial story arc, he saves the world from the devil. So So we're past that, and you can pick that up though with the catch-up tier. But
Nice.
this is the normal cover. Let me see if what order I put it in. So this is the catch-up tier, and in this issue, you find out about Zed Keel. Zed Keel is an ancient fallen angel, and that was the homage cover. Oh, let's go back. So I did some homage covers, and you can get caught up on all the homage covers, or you can just stick with the normal covers. For this campaign, you get this exclusive one where the Searcher is front and center. Well, I mean, she's front and center in the regular too, but this is the middle one here is the exclusive cover for the campaign, and I won't print up any more after the campaign is done. So, but for the campaign, you can get both the normal cover and the exclusive cover if you want a physical copy. You can get all physical copies also. You can get this homage copy and cover with the regular copy, and then you can get all three if you're a cover collecting kind of person. I do collect some variant covers, so I don't hate on people who think it's a gimmick. It's kind of a gimmick, but I like it.
What do you think about variant interiors?
That is a bridge too far for me, I think. I know it's a new thing that Marvel seems to be doing, like a more violent interior or whatever.
Well, what I mean is not necessarily like different art or anything like that. What I mean is a different paper stock.
Oh, different paper stock? Oh, you mean like newsprint?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I'm debating on which tier to choose is my problem with the do I want to do the 300, right? Because I think I need to do the 300, but the war chest isn't there yet. But I don't want to waste the opportunity. So that's the only hesitation right now. That's why I haven't
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm just being cheeky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like what you're doing with the Alpha Red series. So you're on issue 7.
Issue 7.
You said the previous story arc, he fought the devil.
Yeah. So that was 1 through 5. He fought the devil, and then so after when I first met you about a year ago, I was pushing the trade paperback because I had just completed the first story arc, and then I was working on issue number 6. And since then, I have completed issue number 6 and completed issue number 7. So, taking your advice, I was making a standalone story as I'm expanding the story of Alpha Red. So, issue number 6 stands alone. Issue number 7 stands alone. You don't have to pick up any of the other ones. I give you a little recap in the beginning that tells you all you need to know to enjoy issue number 6 or 7, and then you just get bonus,
Nice.
a bonus story if you know all the nuances of issues 1 through 6. So,
how are you liking creating it that way as opposed to like a bigger story arc?
So I like it better. It feels better because we're independent guys, so we don't have the time to put it out every month. So if I leave it on a cliffhanger, I'm leaving you for 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years. Some of us, So I hear you on making it standalone so that the people have a whole complete story to fall back on. So.
Yeah, and I think there's some confusion too with the there's no one waiting, so you can just stay on for as long as you'd like. But I think there's some confusion sometimes when I talk about like a self-contained type story, especially in an ongoing series where you obviously have continuity that would matter. But some people I think hear that and they assume that it means that the book and the events don't matter to each other. So like you could, in essence, this is an extreme example, but you could like kill the main character off every single issue, and that just doesn't matter. It resets itself. It goes back to the next story, and so on.
Yeah.
And that's not really what I'm talking about, at least. I don't know if someone would, want to do something like that. You probably could come up with a character where that would work. But it's
Resurrection
more,
Man.
yeah,
DC
right.
DC had one called Resurrection Man. And,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, I was into it for a while because he would wake up with different powers, and so it was
Kind of like a quantum leapish sort of thing, not
yeah.
necessarily.
Well,
Yeah.
well, except he'd wake up with more like a jackpot from Marvel, where you kind of roll the dice every time he dies. He wakes up with new powers, and he
Okay.
doesn't know what the
Yeah.
powers are. And
But yeah, I mean, the way that you're doing it, I think it is like a way to have more fun as a storyteller, but also even as a reader. That's the kind of stuff that I really gravitated towards, and I think that's really missing, as opposed to these big story arcs, especially like you said, where in indie comics, sometimes the schedule is sporadic.
Yeah.
And who knows when you're going to get that satisfying concluding issue out.
Yeah. And I am building up. There is kind of a story arc behind it all that I'm going to sew together, that I want to do in clumps of 5 issues so that I can collect them into a trade paperback. I think the market is moving towards a longer story. Just speaking to my son as I share the floppies with him, he's like, the stories are so short. I wish there was more story with each comic. And I bring the comics home, and he just tears apart the bag and he consumes the floppy, and he's like, they're too short. So
yeah,
that's his complaint.
Yeah, it's all that kind of the decompressed storytelling where you're always getting like a snippet of a longer arc, but that whole arc sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it could just be an issue.
Yeah.
like you could turn a 6-issue
Oh,
story arc into one good, satisfying issue that maybe it takes you an hour to read or something, but it's all there. So yeah, it's interesting to see people like yourself running around getting to this point of storytelling. I like to see the growth, because you can get a lot of stuff done quickly. You can develop characters, you can introduce scenarios, you can have more stuff occur, and then you can call upon those guys on future issues too. So it really is like, it's a satisfying way, I think, to do character and world building as you progress the series, and also deliver a nice story with each issue.
Yeah. No, and it's depends on your purpose and how far you're thinking out. Like, I was very short-sighted when I initially started Alpha Red. It was just a way to have fun and just kind of my favorite part of it is drawing. So I'm more of an artist, but I was running into writers who I felt weren't any better than me. Like, I hate to say it that way, but they came up with good ideas, and I feel like I come up with good ideas, but then we would butt heads, and I'm like, your idea isn't that much better than mine, or it's not any better than mine. I'd just rather do it myself. And so I don't know, I was just having fun. And then I did like the decompressed story arcs. I like the Brian Michael Bendis cliffhanger, really kind of drawn out, but they had the advantage of being a monthly book, and it kind of worked if you're on time and you're revealing those kinds of things every month.
Yeah.
For me, it was like 2 years in between each comic, so that was just not gonna be sustainable.
Yeah, well, there was something that occurred where, I mean, Bendis is kind of known for his superfluousness, but there's a lot of what has occurred now that I think a lot of people are kind of upset about, or just turned off on, where there doesn't really seem to be a lot of story in the issue. So even though the arc might be decompressed, that's kind of how you need to tell an arc.
Yeah.
The issue itself wasn't decompressed. The issue itself had a lot going on. There was a lot of story there. But somewhere along the line, something occurred where like both the arc and the issue were decompressed.
Yeah.
And you'd have like multiple pages of just, it's too cinematic. where you feel like they're showing like every second of a moment
Yeah.
instead of like the key, exciting, important moments.
Yeah. No, so I mean, I hear you saying that, and I hear a lot of the guys that I respect in the space like yearning for more story in their comic, more value in that $5 that they're spending, and so I hear that, and I yearn for that too, because you can fly through a comic in 5-10 minutes, and you go, wow, that was $5, and the artwork sometimes is little meh in between, like it's not like your Jim Lee's and Todd McFarlane's where you can pour over their artwork over and over and over again. It's a lot of just open figures, and a lot of the artwork is helped out by the coloring, and I'm not a huge fan of artists leaning too heavily into the colorist, and so you don't want to go back and look at the images over and over again like I did with Jim Lee and Will Sprataccio, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, all those image guys. So
yeah, I agree. Sheldon says, I backed your Alpha Red 1-7, James. Can't wait to check
Thank you,
out the
Sheldon.
story.
Thank you, brother.
There you go.
Thank
And
you.
Brian says, what do you think of the giant heavy comics like the hardcover of 7 to Eternity, guys? I'm not familiar. Are you familiar?
I've never heard of it. No. 7 to Eternity.
That
is it like an omnibus?
Vaguely familiar to me, but I'm not familiar with the story or the content at all. Sorry, Brian.
You mean heavy in like tone, or heavy in emotional, or is it like physically like an omnibus kind of?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. What do you mean by that, Brian? Like, is it physically heavy, or is it metaphorically
Big size?
heavy?
Is it like one of those giant size?
Yeah, we'll see if he clarifies on that. But yeah, it's great to see people kind of remembering again the beauty of the episodic style of storytelling.
Yeah, no, and you have to have the arc. I mean, it was hard for me to recompress, the story. Like, I wanted a lot of story, and so I wrote this really big story, and I was like, I can't fit it all in here. Like, what am I going to do? And I was really influenced by Absolute Batman and the Transformers reboot from Skybound, where the artists are more manga influenced, so they have a lot of panels, and a lot of things happen in these little panels. There's pages where it's like 19 or 20 panels, and some of them have dialogue, some of them don't.
Wow.
But they move the story, and they give you a little snapshot here, a little snapshot there, but it feels full. And so I was able to take some of that and kind of be influenced by that, allow myself to do smaller panels, and then every now and again I throw in the giant not splash page, but like a huge panel breaking out of a panel or whatever. I think I have some previews.
Yeah, if you got anything you'd like to share, go for it. Again, there's no one waiting in the green room, so
awesome.
The floor is yours. If no one else joins, though, by the time we get to the 40-minute mark, which is in 7 minutes, that I am gonna cut the show short.
Yep. No, that's cool. So this is an example of me adding more panels to this flashback scene.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, look at how much you could fit in there, and it's not crowded.
Yeah. No, it's it was kind of tricky, like how much can you tell? And it's like drawing on a sketch card, right? We can add so much story onto each little sketch card. Imagine if that's just a panel. And that's what I was picturing in my head as I was thinking through the composition of each panel. Like, I can fit more than I think on there and still tell the story. Now I still have to put words and things in there, so there's a balance. I do want to leave some space for the bigger, deeper story of Zed Keel and the fallen angel aspect.
Do you letter it, or does somebody else letter it?
Somebody else letters it, and he actually tends to letter small, so I'll have to be less wordy
Okay.
because he doesn't want to edit any of my dialogue, and I understand. I'm paying him to put the words in, and he's being creative with all of the dialogue that I have. So I'm going to have to be much more mindful about just making it as sparse as I can to get the story across, but at the same time include everything that I want. The
Yeah.
depth
Well, I
of
mean, you
everything.
got some nice like establishing shots here. You have a nice change in pace of close-ups and kind of different angles on here. You got a lot of room to
Yeah.
to properly letter still and
Yeah.
tell that story without it just seeming like talking heads or
Yeah.
the same repetitive shots over and over again.
Yeah.
You got the visual variety there, and that's
Yeah.
important.
So they're taking jabs at each other here, like they're so I think it's fun to do a little bit of dialogue where they don't always get along like perfect. They're like
Oh
brothers.
yeah, it's a
I got
necessity.
I got brothers. I got two sons. They wrestle, they tease each other. And so that'll be a lot of that. So then you get into the action where, like how many panels is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 panels. I would have never imagined like 9 panels were going to work. But watching these guys, Nick Dragotta and Daniel Warren Johnson, do their thing on those comics, and I was just like, wow, it can help to have all these little panels in there. And they said they're very influenced by manga, and so I am flipping through more manga comics to just catch some of that storytelling.
Well, it's funny because I mean, I've heard a couple of the Image guys talk about it. I'm pretty sure McFarlane was influenced by manga at that
Yeah.
point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of those guys were very influenced by what was going on with manga and anime, and kind of brought, because if you look at even like I mean all of them, but especially McFarlane and Lee, if you look at like Jim Lee's early Alpha Flight to what you would know him on Uncanny X-Men and X-Men and whatnot, it's very, very different. And if you
Yeah.
look at McFarlane on his early stuff with Infinity Inc. compared to like Hulk and Spider-Man, you wouldn't even recognize the artist.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see that like compositionally they were trying to push and get as much as they could, the more that they were getting comfortable with just how to tell a story on a comic page. So it was more about the nuts and bolts of compositional storytelling as opposed to like style. But once they got like the style in there, you could really see that stuff is very influenced by manga.
Yeah.
And it feels like the industry was all about that, which is what really catapulted a lot of careers. And then it pulled back drastically. And like they're left wondering, where's the secret sauce? And it feels like, well, manga picked up. They
Yeah.
kept doing what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like, go back to some of that dynamic visual storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to get people digging it again.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you're a fan of Rob Liefeld. I don't know. He does a podcast called Robservations, and he talks about this stuff, just kind of dissecting it and seeing what worked back in the 90s, why people have been walking away from current American comics, and why they're drawn to the manga. And he said some of the things that he brings up are like the fight scenes will last for like 15, 20 pages, where, in American comics, it's like talking heads for 15, 20 pages. So there's no wonder that they're leaving in droves.
Yeah, it's I don't know, because it's so hard for me too to say, the blame would fall squarely on the artist, because that's how it would appear to the reader, unless you're aware of like editorial and things like that. So I really think so much of what was going on back then and what's going on now falls on the shoulders of the editors. Like, imagine if in some alternate universe Todd McFarlane is the art director at Marvel or is editorial on Spider-Man.
Right.
You know, like you're going to get a very different Spider-Man book
for sure
than what you have right now.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a part of me that really wishes Jim Lee never went down the road of like a publisher type person and stuck more to like art director or, you know, editor on a book.
Yeah.
Because I think his talents are largely wasted in like that administrative role.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. I mean, there's I'm sure he can pull in talent, you know, he from the other side in a way that like a no name or a behind the scenes publisher can't, you know. But if you're going to work for Jim Lee, if Jim Lee's calling you over to DC, you're leaving Marvel to work for Jim Lee. You're not leaving Marvel to work for DC. You're working for Jim Lee, you know. So he has some of that pull, I think. And I think it's starting to work for DC. I think DC has the more of the momentum going into 2025 here, and Marvel's got nothing. I dropped my Spider-Man. I don't think I pick up any Marvel anymore, and
Wow.
I'm not a DC guy, and I'm picking up 2 or 3 DC a month.
Wow. Man. Well, James, we have hit the 41-minute mark, so I'm gonna wrap up the show and our conversation here. It looks like James was the only guest for tonight's open mic. Maybe I got to reconsider canceling the open mic show.
Hey, I wrapped it up. It's all right.
Oh man. All right. Well, James, thank you so much, man, and all the best with that book. You got what's the crowdfunder that it's going to be on the
It's
platform?
going to be on Fund My Comic. You can go to alpharedcomic.com. I've pushed that website over straight to the campaign. So
okay. All right, great. And again, feel free the next time I have any kind of open lines or open mic show, always feel free to pop in. Don't think like, oh, I was on the last one. You know, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, feel free.
I appreciate this.
No problem, man. All right. Well, everybody, I guess I'll let James go and then I'll wrap it up. But James, thank you, man, and have a great night.
Yep, you too.
All right. Okay, everyone. Looks like that's it for us. We'll continue. I'll still continue doing open mic for another episode or two. But like I said, I'm considering what to do here. I might just consolidate it or get rid of it or whatever, because it does serve no purpose if we don't have people to have an open mic show. So that's a big part of it. You know, I could use the time spot either to get work done, not do a show, or I could have a guest on, you know, something like that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I'm going to get back to work. I got test prints to do. Could you believe it? More test prints to do. I'm having fun though, man. I got to tell you, I'm having fun with the test prints because it's a cool experience. And I can't wait to show you guys. I should have a full-fledged standard size comic to show you guys sometime next week. So that's going to be kind of interesting because, you know, we had the mini. The minis are cool, but it's not the same. It's not the same as a full-size standard size comic. And that's going to be cool to show you guys. So sometime like next week, I'll have that. Until then, everybody, I'll be back tomorrow night. I'll have Adam Lawson on the show, and that'll be 9 o'clock Eastern. So I'll see you guys then, hopefully. Everybody, all the best, and have a wonderful night and an even better tomorrow. See you guys.